investment and creation of money. Let us now proceed to subsidiary or general utility function of a commercial bank. It can also be called subsidiary, general utility, ancillary, agency or secondary functions of the commercial in a bank. The subsidiary functions of the commercial bank are divided into two categories. That is why they are called by different names. Basically, they are divided into two categories. One, agency functions. Second one, general utility functions. Okay. The commercial bank performs subsidiary or secondary services. They are not, they are over and above the main functions that they provide, these subsidiary or secondary services of the bank, the services which the commercial bank offers to its customer. Apart from performing the main or principal functions, the commercial bank also performs secondary or subsidiary functions, namely agency function. Namely they can be classified into two categories, classes: agency services and general utility services. What are those? General utility, they are miscellaneous. General utility services and agency services. What are those? Their contribution to the economic development by carrying out the secondary or subsidiary functions in the form of agency and general utility functions are also very, very great. And the first category of function with the agency, with the commercial bank performs agency services. I will just state, I will not explain all those because it is self-explanatory, I think. One is collection. Agency service of the bank consists in so many things. One, collection of money on behalf of customers. Two, making payment on behalf of customers. Three, purchase and sale of securities on behalf of customers when it is sought by the customer. I said that. Collection of money on behalf of customers. Making of payments of money on behalf of customers. Correct? 3. Purchase and sale of securities on behalf of the customers when it is sought by the customers. Advise the customers regarding the stock exchange investments. When you are advisor there, they are advised. When they seek advice, they have money. When they seek their your advice, because you are familiar with the stock market and all, therefore they seek advice, you will advise. It is in a facility that you offer, where I have money, I don't want to keep it in the deposit because it offers a lesser rate of interest. I want to earn more profitably into any stock or shares of a corporate sector. Which one is better? You advise. So you are advising your customers regarding stock market investments, right? Then arranging remittance facilities of funds on behalf of the customers, from one customer to another customer, from one region to another region. You make arrangement for remittance of the funds, and you will also act as trustee of the customers, right? We'll proceed. It will also offer what is that called? Merchant banking services. Merchant banking is a British word. It is very popular in British banks in the past decades. As far as Indian banks are concerned, merchant banking business is a new line of activity. Merchant banking division of bank offers industrial and commercial houses. Merchant banking division of a bank offers to industrial and commercial houses under one roof, and their activity usually being rendered to its customers. The activity of merchant banking activity rendered by the banker to the customers usually are the following. One, it helps its clients to obtain the government and semi-government bodies. Second one, it helps the customers for identification of projects. It helps the clients in the market surveys. It assists its customers in selection of suitable plants and machinery where they can invest and all. Right? This is merchant banking services you are offering to the customers, and the customers, more of their interest is rather to be taken into account. It helps its clients or customers to find new markets, etc., etc. Kindly go through that. And this is what agency services. It means that when you are instructed to pay money, to some other account on his behalf, you do that. Why? It is a facility. And when we take that facility, which the bank offers, then that is agency service. Sometimes it may come free of cost. Sometimes the agency service may be at a fee. Okay, you have to pay the agent for rendering that, you have to pay the banker for rendering that agency services. Then, what about general utility functions of the commercial bank? A commercial bank also offers general utility functions, namely, these many. It pays money on behalf of the customers. It collects money on behalf of the customers. It makes makes payment on behalf of the customers. It underwrites on behalf of the customers. It acts as trustees. It makes remittance of the funds as such. Then it purchases and sells the customers' securities, etc., etc. In that way, they perform the agency functions, but they also perform several general utility functions. The general utility functions may be many. What are they? One, safe locker in a facility, safe custody of valuables. What is that valuable? In my case, not only documents related to certain important things, house it may be, or vehicle it, whatever, certain documents, or my jewels, silver or gold or platinum, whatever, or even in the present day, if I deposit the money in the bank, then I may have to pay and all. What I do to evade the tax? Maybe I will deposit in the safe locker only, even the money. But whatever deposited, it is a safe locker, safe custody as such, and for which banker will not pay any interest. In fact, you need to pay charges, rent for that safe locker facility that you have availed. And you know that they have mentioned what is the rent. Suppose if you take for rent a box, there is a box type almirah, a very strong almirah, and if you avail which one, small, medium, larger, accordingly the annual rental that you have to pay to the bank as such, right? It is very much prescribed. There is a what is that called? Display is very much there. Safe locker facility available, wherein you can keep your valuables or documents for safe custody. Don't you think this enables the public to find safety, the public to find their valuables, their money, etc. in safe? As I said, life insurance policy, the documents, precious jewels, property documents, government securities, shares, debentures. These are all very important documents. And if you keep it at home, maybe some risk may be there. But when you deposit with the bank in the safe for the safe custody, for which you will pay the rent, you are doubly insured of it. It's a safe custody also. Therefore, safe custody of valuable is a general utility function. And accepting the valuables of the customers for safe custody, hiring out the safe deposit vaults or lockers to customers offers safe custody for customers as such, thus ensures safety. 2. Dealing in foreign exchange business, either export finance or import credit. Thereby they promote export and import. For both they provide finance facilities. And when more of export, less of import, or when it is absolutely needed, it will offer convenience to customers. It will also, by promoting export, it will also offer what is that called, economy boost again. Then by issuing travelers check, circular notes, travelers letters of credit, banker performs a utility function. Traveler check or circular notes or letter of credit. A letter of credit ensures the credibility of a customer, wherein he could be granted loan by any other, because it's rather the letter of credit is given to him. It shows that he is sound. And a traveler's check is usually, if you want to move from one place to another place, instead of carrying notes, you can carry the traveler's check. It can be cashed anywhere. Even if you go to some other place, in that bank, if you present this traveler's check to the value of 1,000, they will pay you 1,000 rupees. Whoever it may be, even individual can also pay. Banker, I said the individual also can pay, means any individual there he can also pay, because he will get the money from the bank. So as such, a traveler's check is as good as hard cash as such, right? Only thing is that you need to show your identity, but you don't need to carry your money. Your money is safe. Say for example, I am going by train, slept, but my money may be stolen. But traveler's check, if it is stolen, it cannot be possible to be encashed, because wherever it is presented, it requires your ID proof. When I am the holder of the traveler check, when I go to Bombay with this traveler check, of course its utility these days are very minimal. Reason, we have got ATM facility, right? But it is still a facility. Then acting as a referee on behalf of the customer to prove his soundness, to prove his credit worthiness, to prove his what is that called monetary ability, etc. Then collecting information about the other business for customers. If the customer wants to know where to invest in all, he may collect information from other customers. He may give information about the other business for customers. And underwriting shares, guaranteeing shares, underwriting shares, debentures and government securities. Not only that it will make you, not only that it will facilitate you to make investments, but also it will underwrite. Yeah, you can definitely invest. Apart from acting as a banker to issue the shares and debentures made by companies, every modern banker underwrites the shares and debentures of industrial or trading entities. By underwriting, he thereby facilitates the shares or debentures of the government securities purchased by these. By underwriting securities, a banker encourages a productive investment and thereby stimulates industrial and commercial development of the country. By underwriting, underwriting the shares, debentures or the government securities, by doing this underwriting, a banker encourages productive investment and thereby stimulates industrial and commercial development of the country as such. So it will boost the industrial or the trading or business growth of the country as such. Then it will collect statistics and data. This is very important. Normally, if I talk about commercial bank, what is its growth? How many banks are there and how many branches are there? We need to show with the proof. What is that proof? The data. The collection of statistics and data. They collect, and by showing this, I think more or less when we pass from one stage to another stage with the statistics about what is that deposit total, what is that lending total, and on the basis of that it will help us whether to move ahead or whether to make some changes while moving ahead. It will help. The statistics and the data every modern banker collects about the banking, commerce, industry, agriculture, foreign trade, and publishes them in their magazine. This information is of immense use to the business community, to the learners, to the researchers, and as well to the general public. Correct? To the researchers, what best can be done. To the students, they'll come to know. Oh, it was this, it is this. So what is the rate of growth? They can come to know. For your information about regional rural bank, about land development bank, about cooperative bank, what was the rate of their deposits, percentage of deposits, what's the growth of deposits then, what is the rate of deposits now, what's the volume of lending then, what's the volume of lending now, what's the total number of cooperative banks in India then, what's the total of number of cooperative bank, whether it is urban, whether it is rural now. So I said that if a data is made available ready-made, will it not help for us to take some sort of a quick decision? As a general public, I have money, but where to invest, where to deposit, etc. Correct? Yes. And then they have got the lease financing. What is that lease financing? Leasing is an arrangement under which a person gets the right to use an equipment, machinery, building, vehicle without getting legal ownership of the same for a certain period of time by paying certain amount of lease charge or rent periodically. That leasing finance has become very important in countries like US, UK, Japan, etc. In these countries, about 25% of the equipments or machineries, etc. are acquired by manufacturers and traders on lease. They will not be owners. They are only the users. Their possession is valid for the particular purpose for which, and when the lease term ends, it will be acquired. And no doubt they have to pay rentals. In India, the Banking Regulation Act 1949 did not permit banks to undertake leasing business directly. But today, the banking laws have got changed where commercial banks permitted to transact leasing business by setting up separate subsidiaries to carry out such business. Okay, right. Thereby it will promote the trade, the industries as such, right? And as I said, the next topic that I am going to, so you got to know therefore, right? You got to know what is the general utility, what is the agency. These are all subsidiary or general utility function. The subsidiary or general utility function therefore mainly focus on safe custody of valuables, dealing in foreign exchange business, export finance or import credit, issue of travelers letters of credit, or the circular notes or traveler's check, acting as a referee, then collecting information about other business for the customers, underwriting shares, debentures and government securities, collection of statistics and data, lease financing, etc. are all. But we need still to go to the emerging trends. But before that, I'll just make a mention of one of the type of commercial banking, that is branch banking and unit banking in India. Of course, they are basically into pure banking. They are basically into three types: pure bank, deposit bank and mixed bank, where we need to now know how banks are carrying out their banking activities in India. There are some banks without having branches, unit banking. There are many banks having branches. You talk about scheduled, non-scheduled, you talk about commercial, you talk about cooperative bank, you talk about industrial bank, you talk about agriculture or rural bank. All of them are carrying their activities with the help of branches, and today add with the help of networked branches. So their banking operations are hard and very fast, and almost they are reaching every sectors, every corner, because we don't want to see any particular area still remain backward. We will ensure that if it is dormant, if it is sleeping, we will ensure that it will be woken up and provided necessary finance so as to see each and every area is prospered with the bank finance. And branch banking, that branch banking is a system under which individual bank carries on banking business with the help of a network of branches spread over the country. It is also called delocalized banking as such. And advantages of branch banking, I'll tell you one by one very fast. Advantages: 1, economy in large scale operations. Yes, a big bank having branches, with the help of network branches and possessing huge financial resources, it can be very economy as such. I'll tell you why. When a big bank carries on its banking operations with the network of huge number of branches, customers deposit their money, surplus money, thereby allows capital formation. Some people may come to borrow money, thereby it will allow the money will be channelized for productive purposes. One is capital formation, another one is balanced growth by diversification of risk, by considering the purpose. They will ensure that by lending the money which is mobilized, called savings, that can be applied, administered for productive purposes. This way they carry on their functions. And branch banking is concerned, they will be in a better position. I'll tell you, they will be in a risky position later, but they will be in a better position. Suppose if in one branch no money, immediately this branch can approach other branch. Delocalized system of banking or branch banking operation. Why it is economy of large scale operations? Because they carry on large scale operations through wide network branches. If money in this branch, if there is no demand for the borrowing or the loan, etc., that's what obviously these days you find the out of 3.8 lakh crores, out of 3.8, what is that? Out of 3.8 million crores, correct? Yes, out of 3.8 million crores, only 1.4 million crore is being lent, remaining still with the bank. That means when the bank is unable to, then how will they carry on their functions? because there are huge infrastructural expenditures. They have to meet all expenditures to carry on their operations. They largely collect, they largely earn by lending operations, by investment, but that itself, their deposit lying with them in their liquidity is huge, and only a small percentage of money is going by way of loan or investment. So that may not be good, profitable. As such, what I am telling you, present a scenario. Deposits more, lending is less, correct? But how it is beneficial, let me tell you. If in one branch more deposits with the less demand for borrowings, but in other branch it may not be so. It may not be so in other areas. There may be more demand with no deposits. In such a case, it is what we can say, it is quite expensive here in this branch, because more deposits, no borrowings. It's very, very expensive, and a banker will be suffering from losses. What he can do? He can, transfer the money. Rather, he can send the excess money from here, which is lying without any purpose, without any demand. He can send it to other branches. When he sends it to other branches where it is in need of money, then don't you think, when there is more of deposits with the less of borrowings here, or there is no borrowings here, they can send the money from one branch to the other branch where it is needed. Thereby they will promote economy, and money will earn. Actually, if you focus this money with this branch only, when there is no need, when there is no demand for borrowings, what will happen? This money, for which this money is collected from your customers, for whom you will pay rates of interest. This money is collected from the customers, for whom you will pay rates of interest for all those deposits. But unfortunately, this money, from out of this money, you are unable to earn anything. When you are unable to earn anything, it will be a total, it becomes uneconomic. It will be very expensive. From where, if in a system of branch banking, if it is a liability here, if it is not earning anything here, you can send it to other branches where it is needed. Therefore, there is economy, there is profit in carrying out large scale operations. Then economy of cash reserves, I said. Then geographical spread of risk. Geographically spreading of risk. Okay, it means that by transfer of funds from one branch to another branch, it will help, and even the risk is also spread. Then remittance of funds from, when a bank branch can arrange for remittance of funds from one place to another place very easily and at a cheaper rates. And sometimes, if it is close by, it can even be free of cost. Then collection facilities. Branch bank can collect checks, drafts, bill of exchange, etc. on behalf of the customers at cheaper rates. Then effective utilization of the resources. Balancing or equalizing of interest rates. A branch bank can bring about equality of interest rates by transferring its fund from one place where they are abundant to places where they are scarce. Okay. Then balanced economic development. Yes. Then there is a wider scope for selection of securities or investment. Yes. Then strength to face. When you have more money at your disposal, then you have got the strength to face any sort of risk. Then it will promote the public confidence. Who will think of expanding the business? One who is doing good. Who will think of expanding the branches? One bank which is doing good. And then when you spread across the country, you are able to not only promote the public confidence, but you are also able to mobilize the deposits, and thereby it will increase the banking facilities to the people of the country, and you will have greater contacts. A branch bank has branches all over the country, thereby it can maintain contacts with all sectors, people of the country. Thereby it helps the bank to acquire sound knowledge about the economic conditions and the problem of the people at various parts of the country. This knowledge in turn helps the bank to make a proper use of the funds. This knowledge helps in turn for the proper use of the bank funds. Correct? Right. Next. Higher standard of banking services. When the bank is able to carry on, when the head bank is able to carry on its banking operations through a wide network of branches across the country, then the banking operations are carried on a larger scale. That will help for even they will earn more profit. When more profit is there, then you will improve the quality of banking services you offer. Thereby, you can aim at a higher standard. As a branch bank has a large number of branches, it can render diversified activity services according to the needs of different sectors or different areas of the community. Further, it has got huge financial capital at its disposal, resources at its disposal. It can introduce modern banking techniques, equipments, and thereby raise the standard of banking operations everywhere. And it will ultimately help whom? As I said, when you are doing good, you will think of prosperity, you will think of improvement, you will think of higher service, better service. It will help the people only as such. Okay. Then assistance to trading community. Remember, no trade can come good, no trade can be promoted without financial assistance. Even I have money, I don't want to invest money. All my, whatever I own, whether I will invest in one go, whether I will, spend in one go. No, because I need to take care of my future. Even when I have money, still I will go for the loans. Still I will go for the loans. What for? I want to be a businessman. I want to be an entrepreneur. I go for loan. Therefore, it will promote, the bank will promote by giving financial assistance to the trading community as such. One more thing, effective control by the central bank. Very easy, because central bank in India is RBI. RBI can easily control these banks by issuing directives to the head bank. Head bank in turn will inform all the banks. So RBI doesn't need to go for issuing circulars to all the branches. For example, SBI in India, it is a head bank, but it has got 22,500, more than 22,500 branches. Does it need to issue circular to all these branches? No, it will send the SBI head office. That's it. And what SBI head bank will do? It will send the circular to all, whatever circular received by the head bank, it will dispatch to all the branches to abide by. That's what. Okay. Disadvantages are there. I'll just quickly go through those disadvantages. Namely, possibility of monopoly, red tapeism, delay, lack of initiative, difficulties of management. That too, especially in terms of difficulties of foreign countries. Okay. If the branch bank extends its activities beyond the nation, that is, if it extends like Canara Bank, Vijaya Bank, they have extended their operations to foreign countries. It had to face a number of difficulties arising there from the difference of political conditions or currency units or laws or customs or the languages across, and then it's very expensive management if it is unable to find demand for borrowings and all. Then it will suffer. Then overbanking. Then continuation of you are still continuing non-profitable branches. With the object that if one branch suffers, there are many other branches who are like doing good or running in profits. So thereby, loss of profits in other branches could be helping to overcome the loss in one of the branch. But you don't want to think in terms of what best can be done to rejuvenate this loss-making branch. You will not. But you are allowing the loss-making branch to continue, but at the expense of the other regions' branches. Therefore, this is somewhat, and neglect of local needs. This is one of the major disadvantage that we can see. Priority to the local needs, neglect of local needs. It could be both, but neglect of local needs. Why? Though there is demand in this branch from the borrowers, but demand in other areas are more. Why? The demand here, if you lend or if you advance or if you invest, the returns that you earn is little lesser. But when you send the money or transfer the money to other branches where if you think that returns you earn is more, then what you will do? In spite of the demand existing here, you will still transfer the fund. Not that they are surplus fund, they are the needed fund here, but you are still transferring because they are more profitable there. That means you are neglecting the needs of this locality where the branch is situated. You can't afford to do that. When a bank is there in one particular area, that particular branch should always promote the priority of that branch area. But in spite of the demands, they send the money of this branch to other branch means they are more focused on profit. This is not good. That is a disadvantage that you may have. Okay, right. Of course, in India we are governed by branch banking operations more. Unit banking is a system under which an individual bank carries on its banking business either through a single office or through a few offices. Either single office or very, very few offices it can have. It is called unit banking. Okay, it is called a localized bank, whereas branch banking is called delocalized bank. This is called a localized bank. There are advantages and disadvantages. Let me quickly peruse that. Advantages of merit banking: easy of management, supervision, control. Easy of management because you have only one bank, maybe 3 to 4 branches. When you have 6 to 10 or 20 branches, it does not mean that you are a bank. You are as good as a unit banking. Okay, and you are not spread across. You are spread across the city. That's it. Therefore, unit banking. What are the advantages? Advantages: 1, easy of management, supervision, control. Check on monopoly in banking. Discontinuation of loss-making bank or weak bank, and it creates lesser havoc. Reason: as a unit bank generally small in size, if its failure will not cause much loss or havoc to the credit structure of the country, to the economic structure of the country. Then no delay in banking services, fast initiative. They will take a keen initiative in conducting the business. No neglect of local needs because they are there, and if they want to strive good, then they have to give banking operation to that need only. They don't go beyond this. They are the unit bank. Therefore, your money is collected from the customers from here only, and you will apply the money here only. Therefore, priority. Local needs, local customers are never been neglected. Then personal contact with the customers, 100%. When we go to the regional rural bank, that bank official, that bank customers, they gel with each other in such a way that it is as good as a house. You are more familiar with that. But disadvantages are there, like absence of division of labor. What is that absence of division of labor? It means a unit bank is small in size and its financial capacity is also limited. So it can introduce a division of labor. It cannot introduce a division of labor or specialization. It cannot afford to employ highly qualified or trained personnel in carrying out the banking operations for want of financial capacity. Then no economy in cash reserve. If there is no demand for the borrowings, you have accepted the deposits, and for deposit holders you have promised to pay. You are bound to pay the rate of interest as it stood at the time of opening the account. How to pay that interest you have promised if there is no demand for borrowing or investment? Therefore it is very expensive as such. No economy in cash reserves. If there is more cash reserve, but it is less economy, unless there is huge demand as such. Then no geographical distribution of risk you find, because you are focused in your own area as such. Higher cost in the remittance facilities, higher charges for correction facilities, inability to face risk 100%, no facility to transfer funds from one place to another place. Of course, these days, in this aspect, no arrangement for transfer of funds from one place to another place. In this aspect, there is a little deviation. They are able to enter into arrangement with the other banks. Then inability to provide adequate banking facility. Yes, this is one of the major drawback. Inability to inspire confidence among the people of the locality to rely more, because people themselves are very sure that if I carry on banking habits or banking transaction with this bank, if this bank goes, does good, fine. If it doesn't, then I will be at risk. So that risk is always there in the mind of the people. Apprehension. They are unable to wash off those apprehensions from the minds of the people as such. Therefore, as far as the confident building initiatives, the unit banking is lagging is concerned. Then as far as their lending operations are concerned, it is based on more of familiarity rather than the what is that called, credit worthiness, rather than financial sounding. Okay, right. This is what I mean to say. branch banking, unit banking. Which one is good, which one is bad depends upon the banking habits of the people as such. But I say that barring those serious defects in the branch banking, head bank should focus more on how to overcome these. Like as I said, money of one branch is utilized elsewhere. Actually, you should be utilizing it for the economic development. If the people are not knowing how to utilize it, you should take initiative to make them utilize. So I think to overcome those serious defects, drawbacks of the branch banking, the head bank should conduct research. You have got enough money at your disposal. Then why don't you conduct? Why don't you make a branch banking system more beneficial to the economy of the customer as well as the nation, because of your financial capacity as such. Okay, this is what about the commercial banking, the type of operation they conduct their business through branch banking. In India, we have got more of branch banking operations with less unit banking operations. Right. Now we will proceed. As the last, I am not going to, touch, in detail about the, what is that called, about the contribution of commercial banks to the economy of the nation. Explain the role of the commercial bank in economic development of the country. You can say 1. Branch expansion, 2. Extension of banking facilities to unbanked area, 3. Increase in bank deposits, 4. Increase in bank credit, 5. Financing to small scale industries, financing agriculture, financing industries, provision for self-employment, assistance to women, provision for credit to neglected sections of the community like trade, commerce, industry. They used, but these farmers, artisans, craftsmen, I said they are neglected sections. You cannot neglect, but they are neglected. Why? Because you don't believe, you don't keep that strong faith in activity they carry on, like farmers, artisans, craftsmen, professionals, small transport operators, small business, retail trade, educated, unemployed youths and other weaker sections of society. They continue to grow weaker on account of they being neglected. But reserve, under the policy of the government of India, under the instructions of Reserve Bank of India, nowadays the commercial banks are able to make a provision of credit to these neglected sectors. Thereby, these neglected sectors finds a place, finds a room to come out of this neglected vacuum and more of converting that to the form of advancing or growing sector as such. Then assistance to students, right? It is there. Increase in the investments in the government bonds, securities, etc. And today we find all development oriented banks because they are governed by the sound principles of banking, especially that social responsibility, profitability, safety, liquidity, and social responsibility and social good. When social responsibility and social good is one of the sound principle of making investment, one of the sound principle of banking as well. So I think they are contributing more. Don't just be a commercial minded. Also you must be. See, you are a commercial minded, you are able to earn more. And while doing so, you should also be concentrating more on how to earn, how to do social service as well. Okay. Then you can also adopt a village adoption scheme because you have capital in your disposal, Therefore, you will help, you can be a lead bank scheme. Take the, lead approach, right? The lead bank scheme recommended by Nariman's committee was approved, and its object is to, what is that? The lead bank scheme, the object is more to introduce suitable scheme for the rapid expansion of branches to rural areas. We want to ensure more of rural banking. I know that you are very much thickly populated in the urban areas or semi-urban areas. What about the rural economy? Why we should be ignoring? So therefore, anyone who is initiating, anyone is keen to initiate rural banking, we will provide some incentives. Therefore, which bank? Oh, when the RBI, when the government of India, when the state governments, when they are providing initiatives, then banks started taking the lead in this regard, and they promoted rural banking. Now banks are everywhere, okay? And then village adoption scheme. It is also possible when a particular bank wants to adopt a village, thereby improve their economy. Yes, that is also one of the service. And I think by carrying out all these activities, the bank is able to promote the economic development of the country. Along with that, it will promote self-employment program for urban poor. It will advance to priority sectors like agricultural, like a small scale, like water, road, transport operators, like trade and small business, like weaker sections, like educational loans, like consumption loans, say medical expenses, educational expenses, house infrastructural loans and all. They will provide. Even the professionals and self-employed persons are also given the credit facilities. Thereby, the priority sectors are given priority by offering them advances, and they also provide you consultancy services. Since they are the market experts, they will be in a better position to assess the economic situation and help the concerned by providing a requisite advices, for which they will charge. Housing finance is there, then underwriting there, then mutual funds is there. Therefore, I said their responsibility for promoting the economic development of the country and also promoting the social welfare is huge in the current scenario. Therefore, it cannot be undermined at all. That's it. That's how. It's very elaborate as such. It could have been explained immensely in length. But whatever that I have explained about the commercial bank, classification of bank, commercial bank, what is the meaning and the functions of the commercial bank, we have discussed. Mainly the functions are divided into two categories. One is primary, principal, fundamental or basic functions, consists in four. That is acceptance of deposit, lending of funds, investment and the creation of money. And then we have looked into the agency, the subsidiary or secondary functions, which are divided into agency services and general utility functions. We have also discussed about branch banking and unit banking features, merits and demerits. We have also finally referred to the role of commercial banks in the economic development of the country.